there was a good 5 or 6 month period where I was just planning to shut everything down and go do something else. And then I realized after 5 or 6 months of not being burnt out, of not being overwhelmed, of being free of the burden of feeling like I have to fix this thing constantly, this very broken company, I realized I still do love it. I just don't love all of it. Chris, are there certain parts of the process or that certain types of clients or certain projects that you just, it's not even work, you just love it?
Yeah, totally. I think the strategy part itself, I love, and yeah, you're right. There's certain clients that you work with, and it's just awesome. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like you just enjoy it. It's your passion. It's something that you can really get your teeth into. So yeah, definitely.
Now, have you ever asked yourself, because I hadn't until this point, what if all I did all day, every day was that stuff? Like, is there a way to run the company where you don't have to do all the other stuff that you don't like? Like, you don't, I was always under the impression that strategy is great, but people pay for execution, right? That ideas are great, but people pay for results. And I think to a certain degree that's true. But I always thought that we had to do everything from end to end. And I've come to the realization you cannot be world class at everything. You can't be great at everything. There's too much. Things change too quickly. There's just too many systems and too many processes and too many marketing channels and too many different softwares and too many integrations to be like good at everything. And so I was like, what if, like, to your point, you just mentioned the things you love most. What if could we run a company where all we did was the things we were both greatest at and helping the people that we like to help the most? And is that even possible? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
No, but it's a good question. It's a really good question.
And and I hadn't asked it in 15 years. And but when I was looking at, should I continue going? Should I keep going? Should we stop? What should we do? I realized, oh, I'm good at this and I love it. And I don't have, at that point, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself and I didn't have a lot of confidence in what I could do. But I was like, but what if? Just what if? And so I approach my COO and I say, what if we could build a company this way? And we started to get excited. Like starting to ask, as opposed to, I got to fix it. It's broken. How do we save it? Like, as opposed to playing defense, we started playing offense. What if? What if? And we became entrepreneurs because I am I'm not really a competitor. I don't play the game, but I realized over the last few years I'm a builder. I love building things. I love imagining what it could be and how it could work and what will it take and what's available, and then just like building something where other people look at it and go like, "Wow, you built that? You did that? Wow." And so I realized I'm a builder. So what could I build? And it created this spark of energy. Now, flash forward, we're out there, we're testing different things because I don't know, like just because I've spent 15 years working in a certain type of way, and we've produced thousands of projects. We've worked with over 300 customers. We've worked in 29 industries. We've produced close to $14 million of content for people. Just because I have done all of those things, does it mean that I can then suddenly now just switch to this other thing? Can I do that? Is that possible? I don't know. Have you ever asked yourself that? Because I had to figure that out too. Can you just go from doing this one thing to suddenly doing something slightly more adjacent? And will people still give you credibility? Like, will they trust you? Will they believe you? Do you have a portfolio to back it up? Do you have all the things you need to be able to say, okay, I'm no longer doing all of these things. I'm now just focusing on this one thing for this one type of person. And can you actually sell that? I had to figure that out. because what's the alternative? I don't want to go back. I don't want to just do things the easy old way that I know how to sell, because it's going to lead me to the same results. So I can't tell you, like, this. I don't even know how long that took. Let's say maybe a year, like a year of me going to events, meeting people, writing version 1 of the site. And this is a bit embarrassing for me because we are a brand strategy company. Clients pay us for us to figure out what they need to say, who they need to say it to, when they need to say it, how they need to say it, so that way people will move forward through the process. So can you imagine how kind of secretly embarrassing it is for me that I have to spend so much time figuring this out? Because it should come naturally. But therapists still need therapists, coaches still need coaches. People
Yeah,
who give advice in newspapers probably don't follow all their own advice because you need that outside perspective. And so we spent a year writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and testing different offers and testing market fit and figuring out the niche we want to go into, and figuring out, and each time going like, oh, I realize that this thing I want to move to doesn't actually overlap with my past experiences, and this way of approaching things actually works better for this niche, and oh, I'm using the word offer, but only internet based, funnel based type entrepreneurs use the term offer. More conservative people might say promotion, or they may not even say promotion, they might say campaign. And so like figuring out all the little nuances of what we want to do in the simplest way to explain it probably took us a year. But where I'm going with this and what you asked was it was suggested to us we do a rebrand. So I'm now 2 years into this and I'm still using Phantom Media as our name, because it's the company I started when I was 23. It's the company I've spent 15 years of my life growing and building. It even though it has all this baggage and all these ghosts and all these bad memories, of all the hard things. My portfolio's there, my clients are there, like everyone knows me as this thing. Heck, we have a trademark on it, right? Fanta, we have a trademark. And so I'm telling someone this and they go, Mark, are you familiar with what is it? The principle of sunken costs? Chris, you know the sunken cost principle?
Yeah, I think so. But could you elaborate for listeners if they don't understand?
Yeah, it's the idea that like I can't abandon this thing because I've gone in too deep, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like I've already spent. I remember in the 90s, one of I'm Canadian. One of our national telecom companies decided to go up against the big player to create a whole new network for telephones that was totally different. It was totally cheaper. It was totally better. And I remember hearing this story where they invested something like $400 million into running this company, and a year and a half in, they realized that if they continued down this path, it would bankrupt the company. So they literally walked away from $400 million investment. They just walked away from it. Because it was like, what do you do? Like, do you either keep going? Do you keep throwing money after it? Like, that's the sunken cost. We hold on to things far too long because we're like, well, I've already come this far. And so someone said, Mark, like Fanta's great, but like it's just bad vibes and it's bad memories. And like you need something fresh, you need something different. And I I argued with that person for about a day. And then I started to ask myself, well, what if? Like, well, if I wasn't Fanta, what could I be? And what should we be? And how should we position ourselves? And suddenly it's like so exciting, man. It's so exciting. It's so fresh. It's so different. There's a different energy. There's a different feeling. When you are building, when you are on offense, when you are playing to win, it is when you're trying to hit a new goal, it is so much more exciting than when you're trying to hold on to what you had, when you're trying to rebuild, when you're trying to fix things, when things are broken. And I realized the power of this with our clients. Anyone who's listening who helps people come up with new campaigns, new ideas, new strategy, new creative, rebrands, new brands, whatever it might be, new product development, it is so fresh and different and exciting because that's what we signed up for as entrepreneurs, is to build things and to launch things and to try things